In the end, in a twist no one expected, it was Mohg's body that was abducted to be used by Miquella, and it seems like it may have been the plan from the start. You may now already know that Mohg's body, in addition to being used to access the realm of shadow, was then taken to form the Radahn we meet in battle. But look closely at Miquella's consort. This Radahn doesn't have fur on his armour where he used to, and instead of fur sprouts Mohg's omen horns. Mohg has been recycled, remade by Miquella into a Radahn puppet. Mohg's soul has been discarded, and now the only evidence that his body once belonged to him are these small, tragic details. I'm sure we all feel a deep sense of regret about how we judged Mohg, and from all of us, Mohg, we're sorry. Another question comes to mind. When we meet this puppet body, does it even have Radahn's soul in it? Miquella says at the start of the fight,
"Now, the vow will be honored."
Does that mean the fight with us, or with a worthy opponent, is part of the deal? This may be the case, because only once we have fought the puppet enough and shown our strength does Radahn seem to glow with the fire of war that burns inside him. Is it now that Radahn's soul truly comes into his body? Miquella then says, only after this moment,
"Lord brother, at long last you are returned."
as though meaning it is now, and only now, that Radahn's soul is returned. So is it simply the prospect of a true fight, a fight he could lose, that brings back Radahn's soul to his body, his ultimate motivation to live, to risk death in mighty battles? If this is the case, this final stage of Miquella's work is completed by us, and Miquella was simply waiting for us to carry out his plans once again. Renalla is yet another confusing Elden Ring name, but there is something even more similar about this boss fight than the name, her choice of boss fight arena. We have seen this in the Caria Manor before. The Royal Knight Loretta chooses to fight on a similar arena of water. When we fight Renalla in her second stage, she also teleports us to an infinite arena of water. So what is it about water that is so important to spellcasters? Though it is a typical pairing to the moon, it seems to be more than that. After all, Renalla also uses flame, yet she does not choose an arena of fire, despite having left her heritage for Messmer. Speaking of Messmer, his eyes are clearly very important, but just maybe not for him to actually see, because Messmer might be blind. One of Messmer's eyes is shut, and the other has been sealed by Marika with a symbol of grace. But what happens when he removes this eye? Nothing changes in terms of his vision. He still knows exactly where we are as we fight him. So how exactly does he see? Well, what is the first thing we see of him? His winged snake. The snake's eyes see for him, and they even focus and dilate as he analyzes us. Later, when the base snake emerges, it seems to be more intimately connected with Messmer. Not only does Messmer appear and disappear with this serpent, but the snake's eyes are just like his. On its left side, the abyssal serpent's eye is not fully open, and it seems damaged and red. But the right eye, the same eye Messmer just destroyed, is removed from its socket, and blood covers the scales all around this wound. It is as though this snake in some ways is Messmer, and it would make sense that if grace is light, and grace was upon the eye, that the base serpent, shorn of light, would actually mean having its graced eye removed. Did you notice that Midir, the mother of fingers, seems to reach inside her body and throw fingers at you? Or are they worms? It's too tough to tell at this stage, but if they are worm-like, it means there is a range between that which crawls and what has knuckles, fingers, hands, limbs, and so on. This is something we have looked at with snakes, who begin limbless and slowly seem to sprout fingers, hands, and limbs. Do you think these are worms or fingers? And did anyone get worm face vibes from this attack? The Putrescent Knight is a really odd design, but as we looked at it, something jumped out at us. The knight riding the horse seems to also be a horse. If we focus on the rib cage, the spine shape, the length of the neck, the form of the back legs, it's uncannily like a horse. The skeleton is not complete, of course, and it is warped, and added to no doubt, such as with hands, but watch how it stands when it is off its mount, exactly like a horse. It seems to be as if the horse itself has been divided into two. One is skin and flesh, and the other bones. The eyes, so important in Elden Ring, are nowhere to be seen, sealed over by skin, and the rider has a pair of disembodied glowing eyes. How did this happen? We have an idea. Look how the gloop on the floor seems to suck the horse into it, or even animate it, and the horse tries to escape it. The rider seems that it was once part of this process as well, but escaped it. Look at the back of the bones when the rider is dismounted. They look like they've been pulled, drawn back, as though affected by great sucking forces over a long period of time. Forces trying to draw the bones back into the swamp. It's almost as if the whole flesh and skin has been pulled back and off the skeleton by force, and this force nearly pulled the skeleton off too. Perhaps the skeleton escaped the swamp that was absorbing it by riding itself, as the flesh was drawn back into the purple mire. This is just a possibility, but only From Software would have a horse skeleton escape and ride its own flesh, add some hands, alter its head, and call it a knight. Did you notice that Messmer's winged snakes change colour in his second phase? The snakes start a bright red, but turn white. Is this just because of the fire in his transformation burning the snakes, or is it symbolic? Or is it because Messmer has been born anew as the base serpent, and when serpents are born anew, they shed their skin? It does seem as though the snakes could be red under the surface, and it is just the white colour of shed snakeskin. Messmer too seems to have acquired some snake-like skin, as though he has shed his human skin as part of this transformation. You might have found this out already, but in case you haven't, we now know who left Placidusax in the state seen in the present day. It was Boyle the Dread. This isn't only proven in item descriptions, but you can actually see two of Placidusax's head on Boyle's body, ripped off during their duel while biting into him, and embedded amongst Boyle's spikes ever since. Is it the greatest battle scar ever, or is Boyle just so injured he needs a friend to reach that spot on his back for him and remove these historic heads? Boyle is in fact the progenitor of the modern dragons, drakes. He fought Placidusax until fleeing to the land of Shadow, both left extremely injured.
In a time long past, Boyle turned upon the Dragonlord. The foul traitor assailed our master and inflicted a grievous wound, only to make a hasty retreat, becoming a sworn enemy of the Brood.
And in response to this, it was Placidusax himself who set up Dragon Communion.
Since that day, Boyle and his bloodline, the Drakes, have served as sacrifices for Dragon Communion.
Thus, the Drakes served as sacrifices, and the Communion bounty on their heads ensured the modern dragons were never safe. Not only does all this explain a lot about the dragons, both ancient and modern, but it also clarifies another thing. Placidusax is not the Stormlord that Godfrey fought, and makes it all but certain this was the ruler of Stormvale. And finally, the DLC shed light on the life of Marika from before her rise as the land's ruler, how she hailed from the hidden shaman village behind the Shadow Keep, how these shamans served an integral role in the creation of living jars, how they suffered appallingly in this process at the hands of the rulers of the era, those who saw the horn scent as divine, and how, once Marika finally rose to power, she could only bestow gold upon a now empty village, which was once her home. There is tons to unpack surrounding the living jars, the shamans, and of course Marika herself, so stay tuned. but if there's one thing that surprised us playing through The Shadow of the Erdtree, it's that we were made to feel empathetic for Marika.